Good morning. At 10:48 p.m. last evening, two of our deputies arrive on scene at a residence in Seffner, and as you can see from the video, immediately start running towards the residence that's fully engulfed. When they arrive, they see a mother and her boyfriend standing outside screaming for her young child. The deputies start making those inquiries. Is there anyone else inside the house? Is there anyone else still inside? Yes, the mom replies, my young son's still inside. So the deputies immediately spring into action and start breaking the two windows to where his bedroom was located, trying to create a pathway for that young boy to escape the fire. You can see from this video that this room was fully engulfed. That dark, thick smoke made it impossible for anyone to survive inside that room. Nonetheless, the deputies, you could tell by watching the video, even the deputies who were outside that residence were struggling as they kept sticking their head inside, as they kept trying to move the blinds and shine their flashlight to create a pathway, to rescue for this young boy. They continue to do that. Even at their own expense, you could tell them as they're becoming overwhelmed with smoke inhalation, they continue to try to give that young boy a pathway to escape the danger that he's in. Fortunately, the young boy is able to find them, and Deputy Maldonado and his squad mate, Deputy Reich, were able to grab this young boy, this lifeless, this almost near responsive young boy from the residence, and take him to safety, where they immediately start providing some medical attention. At this time, fire rescue arrives on scene, and the deputies advise the captain that's on scene to get this young boy some oxygen immediately, as they're trying to calm this frantic mom down, and at the same time revive this young boy. The young 9-year-old boy is still at Tampa General Hospital, suffering from severe conditions. He's in severe condition, suffering from smoke inhalation and severe burns. I think all of us at the office today are going to go home and say a prayer tonight, hoping that he can recover from the injuries that he sustained. The mother and her boyfriend were also transported to Tampa General Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Now, as you're watching this video and your heart's racing like mine was, it seems like it took forever for the deputies to rescue this young boy. It only takes 3 minutes. That's all it takes for them to rescue this young boy. More importantly, those 3 minutes were what was almost the obstacle and caused this young boy to perish. This young boy was minutes away from perishing from this fire. And I couldn't be more proud of the quick actions and the fact that these deputies never gave up. This child is alive today because of their heroic actions. Deputy Maldonado, I know you've had a long night. I thank you for being here, and I want to personally thank you for saving this young boy's life. This community and myself owe you a great debt of gratitude. Thank you. At this time, Deputy Maldonado and myself are available for any questions.
Do you mind, Deputy Maldonado, just kind of explaining from your perspective?
Sure.
Just kind of take us through you arrive and
So once I was approaching the house, you could see from a good distance that the house was fully engulfed, a lot of smoke. You could feel the heat coming from the house. Deputy Reich was already on scene, trying to figure out a way to get into the residence. And once I got up to the house, that's when I learned, I think we both learned at the same time, there's a child still inside the house. So at that point, just trying to figure out what's going to be the best and safest way for us to try and locate this child through all the smoke. and just trying to get him to a window, or in the safest manner for us to possibly have to go in and grab him if we needed to. So it was relatively frantic. A lot of neighbors were outside. They were screaming in the background that there's a child still inside. And it's just, relying on your training and just kind of just doing what you're trained to do and just trying to find the safest way to get this child out of the house.
What's going through your mind and your heart at that time? Those 3 minutes did have to feel like forever for you.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know it took 3 minutes until Sheriff said that. Definitely felt like a lot longer. But, I think the biggest thing, we were probably both just thinking, we got to get this child out of the house. And that was the only thought at that point in time. So.
Did you know, was he still in the room? Did he got out of the room? Do you kind of know where he was at that point when you guys broke the window?
Initially, we didn't know exactly where he was inside the house. And there was a little bit of a delay between us learning that he was still inside the house and trying to figure out where he was. So once we got the windows broken and we pulled the window out of the front of the house, we just started calling out, "Hey, buddy, can you hear us? Hey, buddy, can you come to the sign of our light? Hey, buddy, can you come to our voice?" And it was a little bit after that is when we could start to hear him cough and kind of like cry and groan. So we knew that he was somewhere in that room. It was just a matter of where in the room and how far into the room he was. It didn't sound like he was too deep into the room, but it was just a matter of trying to figure out where he was in the room.
What was it like when you saw him, when you finally saw him coming out of that window and you were able to help pull him out? What was that like?
Sign of relief, just knowing that, once we could see his arm and we could, Deputy Reich was able to reach in and pull him to the window and we could get him up over the window. Just relief and happiness to just, get him out of the house, get him as far away from the house, as far away from the smoke as we possibly could. And at that point, just get him over to HCFR and let them do what they're trained to do. So.
How long did you guys get there before the firefighters arrived?
I don't know the exact time. They were on scene pretty much within unison of us getting him out of the house.
If you ended up having to go, if he didn't come out of the house, if he wasn't able to move toward the window, then you had to go in. You're putting your own life at risk at that point. Was that something that you were prepared to do?
We opened up the window and we're not trained to go inside of houses or anything like that. We were trying to do it in the safest manner. So we did what we could in the safest manner to get him out of the house, but we're not trained to go inside of houses.
We're not sure, if this little boy's gonna be okay, but how hopeful are you that he will be and that you'll be able to reunite with him and his mom and kind of be able to see him, in a better condition, I guess?
Yeah, I hope he makes a speedy recovery and is able to get back. And hopefully, if we're able to see him in a better state, and maybe see mom in a better state, and have an opportunity to just say hi to him. But biggest thing is just making sure that he is able to recover and have a healthy recovery.
You heard the sheriff calling you a hero. I'm sure other people are going to see this today and say the same thing. What are your thoughts about that?
We're just doing our job, sir.
What are you feeling right now? I mean, watching that video, I can imagine all the adrenaline you were feeling. Are you still feeling that? Are you still taking this all in? What is going through your mind?
Yeah. Last night went to bed and I definitely didn't expect to be here doing all this the next day. So I think I had we had come down from everything that happened last night. I think getting that phone call this morning was definitely was like, okay, well, I guess this is a lot bigger than we thought it was. So.
Any parents in this situation, something like this, what do you recommend them to do? What's the best way they can act?
Sure.
I think it's being prepared, having a plan in place. We always talk about hurricane plans. We always talk about different plans. I think you have to have a fire plan in place. What are you going to do? Is your child on the second floor? Luckily, this one wasn't. That where you need a ladder, that one of those foldable ladders to get out. It's always being prepared. That's the best way and only way to survive something like this. Luckily, the deputies were able to glean as much information as they could. And again, it's their quick actions, their bravery that saved that child's life last night. And I couldn't be more proud of them. And I know you didn't get much sleep last night, but thank you for being here. That means the world. You know, another part too is this Deputy Maldonado and Deputy Reich, they're young deputies. They're not some seasoned veterans. They both were hired in 2020. This goes back to the training. This only reaffirms to me that the training that we're providing these deputies is working, because you saw they didn't hesitate, the way they sprung into action. Now, yes, they're not trained to go into fully golf homes, and at times we do go into fully golf homes. We'll never have the equipment or training for it, but they do it. This last night was no different. They were where they could be to make sure that they were able to survive this incident and give this child every opportunity to survive it as well. Think about that. 3 minutes. 3 minutes is all that stood in the way of this young child living or dying. And it's because of their actions that 3 minutes hopefully will save this child's life today.
Any other questions?
Have you heard an update from the hospital or family?
We didn't. I'll be heading that way in a little bit to see if I can see him, and we'll certainly put something out. That's where I plan to head next, is to Tampa General, to see if we can lay eyes on this child. And again, just I think for our own benefit, I would love nothing more to call Deputy Maldonado and Reich. Deputy Reich, they're off this weekend, so he's already on his way for a weekend trip with his family, and call the two deputies and tell them his condition. Hopefully I'm able to report some good news. This is another reason why I provide the deputies with the tools and equipment, the training that they need to save lives. This is a perfect example that there's so many deputies out here that the probability of them arriving on scene before a fire rescue in a lot of different scenarios that are medical conditions or fire conditions is a reason that I provide them with the equipment. Every patrol deputy that we have has an AED. We're saving lives every day. Narcan, because of the amount of overdoses that we're facing. Whatever piece of equipment they need, they're going to have, so they can spring into action like they did last night and save a life.
You know, others may have, I guess, waited, like, if they weren't trained, I guess, maybe just waited until the fire rescue came, but these deputies stepped in and got right into action. What does that say about your team here?
The selfless service to others, the motto that this team, the 4,000 men and women of this office, that they live by. Selfless service to others. That's what they do every day when they kiss their loved ones goodbye and head out to work, not knowing what the shift ahead holds in store for them. I couldn't be more proud of them. It seems like I'm always standing in front of the camera saying how proud I am of the men and women that work at this office. But I tell you what, it's almost a daily reminder when I come to work of why I'm so proud of them and how selfless they are.
Deputy, you put your life at risk. How do you feel? Do you fear for your life at any point? Would you do this again? What are you
doing? We're just doing what we're trained to do. I'm not gonna go throw myself into, harm's way for fun. But just, if somebody's in risk of great harm, we're just doing what we're trying to do.
Last question?
Do you know the cause of the fire?
I do not, ma'am.
Could you say and spell your first and last name for us, please?
We'll get you all that too. We'll give you names of both deputies, how long they've been employed here. We'll get you all that information, the address where the fire occurred, everything that we have. We'll be putting that out.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you, everyone.